It's winter time, it's cold, wet and miserable outside, so it's not the greatest weather to drive your RC cars outdoors. So we gotta entertain ourselves indoors. And that is why I've got myself this Axial SCX24. And in this video and the next two videos I'm going to do something I've been wanting to do for a long time. And that is upgrading everything on this car. But before we're gonna start on upgrading, we gotta see what this car is like right out of the box. Alright, so let's open up the box. Alright, so here's the car. Oh, wow. This is interesting. The shock is already loose right out of the box. I'll have a look at that in a minute, but I gotta say it looks really cool just as it is. It's kind of a shame I'm going to change everything on it, but maybe once I've done all the modifications I can just rebuild it out of all the parts. But yeah, it's so tiny, it's very cute. It has the oil-filled shocks because this is the version 3 of the Jeep Wrangler body. Tires feel really soft. Yeah, I've never had a mini crawler like this, but it looks very cute. Yeah, I gotta have a look at what's going on here with this shock, because this is not as it should be. But let's have a look what else we get in the box first. Alright, we got this thingy with manual, some spare drive shafts, some batteries for the transmitter, or the radio, or however you want to call it. And now the radio should probably be in here. Right, so that's your radio, SLT2, pretty basic thing. Feels just the same as from my Arma Mojave. It's basically the same thing, but just an extra channel. Should do its job just fine. And here we have the USB charger. Alright, let's clean this up and have a look what's going on with this car. Alright, a little bit of investigation later, and it's gonna be hard to show with this body which is hinged from the back, but basically the problem is this screw which mounts into the shock mount is snapped off. So I can't screw it back in because it's, well, as I said, it's snapped. So yeah, I could choose to contact the store where I bought this and let them send me a new one or something, or whatever, how they're gonna fix this. But I can also just, since I'm going to replace everything on this car, I can also just put some super glue on there and glue it back on for the time being, and then just drive it like that for this first test drive, and then I have to change everything anyway, so I think I'm gonna do that. Alright, so I've got that shock mount thingy glued back on, so we gotta wait for it to dry, and in the meantime I'm gonna put this battery on charge and I'm going to build a small crawler course, and then we can test this thing out. Right, the battery is not fully charged yet, but it should be good enough for this course, because we're going over these tape rolls, the pliers, screwdrivers and the electric tools, down the wheels and tires, over the batteries onto the vintage RC car, and then up this steep hill climb, which is actually a really slippery plank, so it will be interesting to see if it will get up there. And then a little bit over my bed, and then down the pillows, and there's the finish. Right, so we gotta turn the controller on, and then the car on. Now we're ready to go. Right, so I gotta be driving one-handed, so hopefully I'll be able to do this. Ah, it's easy so far. Way easier than I thought. Alright, now we get onto the car. Oh yeah, this is a challenge. Can we make the turn? Oh, we're falling off. Nope, we're not doing it. Nope, no chance. Right, let's put him back there. Now let's see if we can make the rest of it. That vintage car is actually a pretty small car already, so that puts it kind of in perspective. It's like 1/12 scale maybe. And this thing's 1/24, of course. Hence the name, SCX24. Oh, no grip. No grip. Oh no. Can we push it a little bit? Oh yeah, there we go, there we go, there we go. Yes, it's up there. Nice. And now the last part, down the pillows. Hopefully we're not gonna fall. That's the trickiest part of this. Nice, it did it. Alright, so that was our first test drive. It wasn't the most exciting and long course ever, but it gives us a bit of an idea what this car is like in stock form before we're going to upgrade everything. And one thing I did notice, which I didn't super like, is the motor and ESC, or whichever one of them is the problem. It's not super smooth. It's not terrible, but that's definitely something to improve on. And the servo as well, it is not the strongest, but yeah, it's kind of what you can expect on this price point. For this price, it's a really fun car, and actually the tires and the shocks, they're not bad at all, but we're going to improve on a lot of that. And for this video I've only got 2 modifications planned, since this video is also about like the unboxing and stuff, so we're not going mad on the upgrades just yet. That's going to be in the next video, even though you might say this first upgrade is quite a big upgrade, which is right, because it's this Meus Racing MB24 chassis kit. Because if you're going to start a new build, you might as well just start with the chassis right away. I once saw a video about this kit and I instantly knew if I was ever going to build a mini crawler, I was going to use this chassis. I just think it's awesome, and as you can see, I've gone with the version with the unpainted body, since I want to paint it myself, and it comes with like all the carbon fiber chassis rails and everything's carbon fiber, so it's a pretty cool kit. Comes with lights and interior for the body and a spare tire just for the looks. And overall, I think this chassis is just really cool. Alright, and then there's one more, or you could say 2 more upgrades maybe. And that's going to be wheels and tires, because that's one thing I think should be one of the first upgrades on pretty much any crawler, probably. And I'm going to be using these Injora Racing beadlock wheels. They're fully made out of brass, so they're nice and heavy. And I think they look really cool. They're really cute, as small as they are, but they're really quite heavy for their size, which is what you want to bring the center of gravity down, of course. And then I'm going to wrap these wheels in these Injora Rock Terrain tires. These are actually the 64mm version, so they're actually pretty big compared to stock, but they do feel really nice and grippy, almost sticky like, and I think these will be really good for this car. And also I went for the option with the silicone inserts. I expected them to come stock in the tire, but they come separately apparently, so I can choose between foams and silicone inserts. I've never used these silicone inserts, but I'm really excited to try them out, so we'll be putting these in. So yeah, that's a quick overview of the stuff I'm going to be putting on that car. But before we can put anything on, I think it's smart to start with painting this body. Right, the first layer of primer is on the body. I did want to film the whole process of painting the body, but due to the situation that didn't really work. So yeah, here are some photos of the process. Yeah, now it's time to go and assemble the chassis. So we'll start off with assembling the roll cage that goes inside of the body. I'll just go through all of the steps and show you what it all looks like after every step, and then we'll go through it like that. Alright, so here we have the first step completed. It's the roll cage that goes inside of the body eventually, and then the next step is to put some more details onto the roll cage. Alright, step 3 is almost finished. I got all the bumpers and stuff on the cage. Now the only thing left to do is to put the spare tire on there, and there's actually something really cool about that tire, because well, as you can see, it's actually made of proper rubber. I expected it to be just plastic because it's just for aesthetics, and there's actually foam inside of the tire, so it could basically be a functional tire, except for the fact that this wheel, this rim, is not really all that functional. But I still think this is a really cool detail that this is actual rubber. Now the next step is to put the interior in, so yeah, let's get to do that. Alright, next step, step 4 is also completed. We've got the interior in, and now the next step would be to add the body, but that's obviously still in progress to be painted. So the next step then is going to be to assemble the chassis. So I'm gonna clean it up a little bit around here, and then we can start on assembling the chassis. Alright, so I've got the car right here, and we need to take this pretty much fully apart to assemble the chassis, because as you can see, it starts with the new chassis rails, and in between we have to put the gearbox from this car. We can also use like an aftermarket gearbox and all that kind of stuff, but that's going to be in the next video. So for now I have to take all the bits out of this car to be able to fit it in there. So that's going to be interesting. But before I'm going to take this apart, I want to weigh this car to know how heavy it is, so I can make like a comparison with every step I'm doing on this build, what difference in weight we've made. Because this kit of course includes some carbon fiber parts, but also has a heavy hard body thing, so I'm curious to see what the difference in weight it's all gonna make, and especially later on with adding all the brass parts to see what the difference in weight is all is gonna be. So let's weigh this car. Got my kitchen scale right here, let's put the car on there. Alright, so that's gonna be about 212 grams. That's not all that heavy, but it's a small car of course. And now throughout the rest of this video and series, every time I'm going to put new parts on this car, I'm going to weigh the individual parts and compare it to the weight of the stock part. So for example, in a minute I'll be changing the wheels, so I'll weigh what the stock wheels weigh and then what the aftermarket wheels weigh, and so I can make a big chart of all the differences in weight between all the different parts. So now it is finally time to go disassemble this car, so I'll be right back in a minute when I've this car disassembled. Right, there you have the main parts of the car disassembled. We have like the front axle, rear axle, the center gearbox stuff, and some other bits and bobs. And now we can build the car back up, starting with the center, the gearbox. And I'm building it up according to the instructions with the chassis rails and all that stuff. Alright, got the main part of the chassis fully assembled now. I gotta say, it is really light. It barely weighs a thing with this carbon fiber chassis rails, as you might expect from carbon fiber of course. But I gotta say, these little plates that are like in between the two chassis rails, where you're gonna put here a piece of velcro to mount up the body, and here I believe will be the receiver. They were kind of tricky to get into to slot into the chassis. If you can see it like that, it like slots into there. Some sides got in pretty easy, but some others were really tricky to get in there. But other than that, up to this point it all gets together pretty easily. Now the next step is to put the receiver on. So we gotta pull it off of this mounting bracket from the stock car and put it with some double-sided tape onto there, I think. And then it's just a case of putting everything back together until we get a driving car again. Alright, so here is the car as far assembled as I can get it. And well, as you can guess, there are some issues and things that didn't go as planned. Well, first of all, you can see the receiver and ESC thingy is hanging out, and we don't have any shocks on it right now. So yeah, let me explain this. We have the receiver and ESC thingy. It's supposed to sit on this blade back here, but when I do that, the servo wire is too short and it doesn't reach, so it's just dangling around like this for now. I can't get it to fit anyway. Then for the servo itself, the stock servo mount that sits on the axle, with the stock servo mount, the body doesn't close, so I had to put the servo mount that was supplied with the kit, I had to put that on there, but the stock servo doesn't fit. I can only put one screw in, the other one doesn't fit, which is not a very big issue, but yeah, it's not very nice. And then also I have a lot of these screws left over and some of these gold ringy thingies. Some of them are spare parts, I know that, but there are also a lot of, yeah, well, for example, those gold things. I've never used them on this chassis kit at all, and the instructions don't say to use them either, so I'm not sure when you should use them. And also, I've not used any of the silver screws, but I'm guessing that's just like optional. You can choose between black or silver, but not the most clear instructions. For the most part, it's pretty clear what they mean, but things like this, I'm not sure what to do with it. But yeah, the chassis is together for the most part, just some slight inconvenient things, and we don't have shocks. But that's my own fault, because that one shock was broken, or the shock mount was broken, so I had to super glue that, and because of that I can't get the screw out and I can't screw in the shocks, so that means we have to upgrade the shocks already in this video. I plan to do that in the next one, but well, I don't have a choice if I want to make this car driving again, so I'm using these Injora aluminium oil-filled shocks. They're big bore oil-filled shocks, yeah, so we're gonna unpack these and put them on the car, and then hopefully we can get the car driving again. Alright, so here I have one of the new Injora shocks, and they look pretty cool, but I can already feel there is no oil in there, so we gotta fill them ourselves, but that's not a big problem. And if you compare it to the stock shock, we can also see it's quite a bit longer, and that was actually on purpose, because, well, who doesn't like some longer shocks, right? So yeah, now we need to fill up all these shocks with some oil. I'll choose the lightest oil I have, which is 15 weight. Might be a little too stiff even, I might want on 10 weight, but I don't have it right now, so 15 weight's gotta do, and then we can put them on the car. Alright, well now that I've actually taken this shock apart, I can actually see there is oil in there. It's just very, very little, so I am going to fill it up with my own oil anyways, but yeah, there is some oil in there, but not really. Alright, here it is, with the new shocks on there, and I gotta say, I really love the look of it right now, even though the ESC doesn't really fit in there. I really gotta find a solution for that, but now that we have the shocks and everything on there, I think it's time for the next step, which is obviously going to be the wheels and tires. Alright, so I did already show you all of these parts before in the video, and that these tires actually have foam inserts in them already, instead of the silicone inserts, but I am going to put the silicone inserts in there, because I think that's just more fun. And so yeah, I will assemble all of these wheels, and when I've got all of that done, I'll get back to you guys. That's right, but before that, I'm going to start on painting the body in its main color. And this is my first time painting any RC body, whether it's a hard body or a Lexan body. And because of that, I think the only right choice is to go with my favorite color. And some of you might have been able to guess what my favorite color is already. It's of course yellow. I'm wearing a yellow sweater, yellow watch, all yellow. So I went with this TS47 Tamiya paint. They call it chrome yellow. I ordered this online, so online is obviously very hard to see what the colors are actually going to look like in real life. So I'm hoping this is going to turn out how I want it to. So yeah, you will see that towards the end of the video. So let's continue with the wheels and tires. Alright, it's another day, as you can probably see by the lighting. But we got all of the wheels together. It took me maybe about an hour to put all of these together, because it's like 28 screws per wheel and they're really tiny. But we got it all together and they're nice and heavy, nice and squishy. I think these silicone inserts are a little softer than the foams. And these wheels are obviously quite a bit bigger than the stock wheels. But before we're gonna put them onto the car, we need to weigh them, the new wheels and the old wheels, to know what difference we've made. Alright, there's the scale. First of all, I'm going to put the 4 old wheels on there. They weigh 44 grams. Alright, and the new wheels, they are 296. Dang, that's a big difference. Alright, let's put them on the car. Alright, there we have it. The wheels are on there. It was quite a struggle to get them on, because as you can see, the wheel nut goes like even deeper inside of the wheel. So yeah, the wheels are kind of loose, because I just can't get them any tighter than this. But I'm hoping that for this video it will be okay. In the next video I have got a modification planned that should hopefully help with that. And also I've now put the ESC thingy up here. I had to remove the interior, but now it can just sit like this. That won't stay forever either, because I'm gonna change all of that as well. All the electronics I'm gonna change in the next video, and then hopefully this shouldn't be a problem anymore. But for now, I think the only thing left to do for this video is to finish up the body, and then we can test it out. And there's actually another thing that I forgot, and that is I need to compare the weight of one of these new shocks to one of the old shocks. Let's see what the stock shock weighs. Exactly 3 grams, so that makes 12 grams in total for the 4 shocks. And what's the new shock like? 4 grams, so that makes 16 grams, so we gained 4 grams in total with the shocks. Alright, there it is, fully painted and stickered up, and I got to say, for my first time painting an RC body, I think it turned out pretty good. There are some slight imperfections here and there, and some dust particles have gotten into the paint, because I do not have a dust-free paint studio in my house, but with all these stickers on there, they kind of distract from those imperfections, and I think it looks pretty good. And talking about those stickers, you'll probably be able to work out where these Meus and Injora stickers have come from. And then we also have this Cape Crawler sticker that came with the Meus MB24 kit. Cape Crawlers were the guys who inspired me to do this build, and these 3 stickers came with the kit as well, and they just look cool and they fill up that bit of space. But you might be able to notice there's some more space blank left out. That's because in one of the next videos I'll be adding some parts from another brand, and those spaces I've left out for stickers from them. So yeah, those will be coming later. And while I was putting this body on, I also added the lights to the front bumper and the roof as well. They came with the kit. I've obviously been keeping track of all the weight differences from the parts I've been putting onto this car, and I didn't measure the stock weight from the body and chassis kit that's now onto the car, but I weighed the stock body and chassis parts and did some quick math and came to the conclusion that the stock body and chassis were together 67 grams and this one is 112 grams, and most of that weight is obviously more on top of the car with the hard body and the roll cage and all that stuff. So we did gain some weight on top of the car, car, so that's not great for performance, but hopefully these wheels will make up for that. But yeah, I still think it's worth it because this body, I just think it looks awesome. Let me know in the comments what you think of it. Alright, let's go and test this thing out. Alright, so I've tried to recreate the same course as we had in the beginning of the video, but a couple days have gone past since the start of this video, so it's probably not exactly the same, but it's pretty accurate. And we got the lights on right now, so yeah, let's go. The servo is really struggling. We really need to do something about that. But it will be coming in the next video, as I said. Oh, can we make this part now? We have more grip now with these tires. But the servo can't really turn the wheels all that great. Oh, the wheel is rubbing as well on the body. Oh no. Can we get back up? Nope. Not enough torque. Yeah, the servo's really weak. Alright, onto the hill climb. Ah, we're sliding off. Let's position ourselves. Let's see. Oh wow. It's not doing it. Ah, there we go. Oh no! Well, I gotta say this step up here is steeper than it was at the beginning of the video, so we'll give it that. We'll put it there and let's continue. The servo really can't take it. It's obviously a hard surface to turn the wheels and very big and heavy wheels as well. Servo really doesn't like it. Oh no! Oh well, I guess that sums up this video. Alright, so we've seen that it doesn't really perform all that great, probably even worse than it did as stock, but that's kind of to be expected because these electronics, the servo and the motor and ESC, they haven't been designed to move all this extra weight from these wheels because they are really heavy compared to stock. And yeah, just all these upgrades, they might be better for performance, but not with these electronics. We really need to sort that out, but luckily that's gonna happen in the next video. And I do think these tires are actually a little bit too big. I might get some slightly smaller ones, but for this series of videos I'll keep them like this, and after that I might change them. If you have some good ideas for different tires, leave them down below. I'll have a look into that. Alright, so that's gonna be it for this video, but we're not done with this car yet, because as I've said in the beginning of this video, I am going to upgrade everything on this car. So if you like what I'm doing with this car, please like this video, and if you want to see all the other upgrades coming for it, and the electronics especially in the next video, you gotta subscribe to my channel, and then I'll see you in the next video. Yo!